The soldier with the green whiskers led them through the streets of the Emerald City until they reached the room where the guardian of the gates lived. This officer unlocked their spectacles to put them back in the great box, and then he politely opened the gate for our friends. "Which roads lead to the Wicked Witch of the West?" asked Dorothy. "There's no road," answered the guardian of the gates. "No one ever wishes to go that way." "Then how are we going to find her?" inquired the girl. "That would be easy," replied the man. "For when she knows you are in the country of the Winkies, she will find you and make you her slaves." "Perhaps not," said the Scarecrow, "for we mean to destroy her." "Oh, that is different," said the guardian of the gates. "No one has ever destroyed her before, so I naturally thought she would make you slaves, as she has the rest. But take care, for she is wicked and fierce, and may not allow you to destroy her. Keep to the west where the sun sets, and you cannot fail to find her." They thanked him and bade him goodbye, and turned towards the west, walking over fields of soft grass dotted here and there with daisies and buttercups. Dorothy still wore the pretty silk dress that she put on in the palace, but now, to her surprise, she found it was no longer green, but pure white. The ribbon round Toto's neck had also lost its green colour and was white as Dorothy's dress. The Emerald City was soon left far behind. As they advanced, the ground became rougher and hillier, for there were no farms nor houses in the country of the west, and the ground was untiled. In the afternoon the sun shone hot in their faces, for there were no trees to offer them any shade. So that before night Dorothy and Toto and the lion were tired, and lay down upon the grass and fell asleep, with the woodsman and the Scarecrow keeping watch. Now the Wicked Witch of the West had but one eye, yet that was as powerful as a telescope, and could see everywhere. So as she sat in the door of her castle, she happened to look around and saw Dorothy lying asleep with her friends all about her. They were a long distance off, but the Wicked Witch was angry to find them in her country, so she blew upon the silver whistle that hung around her neck. At once there came a running to her from all directions a pack of great wolves. They had long legs and fierce eyes and sharp teeth. "Go to those people," said the witch, "and tear them to pieces." "Are you not going to make them your slaves?" asked the leader of the wolves. "No," she answered. "One is of tin, one is of straw. One is a girl and the other a lion. None of them is fit to work, so you may tear them into small pieces." "Very well," said the wolf as he dashed away at full speed, followed by the others. It was lucky the Scarecrow and the woodman were wide awake and heard the wolves coming. "This is my fight," said the woodman. "So get behind me, and I will meet them as they come." He seized his axe, which had been made very sharp as the leader of the wolves came. There were 40 wolves, and 40 times a wolf was killed. They all lay dead in a heap before the woodsman. Then he put down his axe and sat beside the Scarecrow, who said, "It was a good fight, friend." They waited until Dorothy woke the next morning. The little girl was quite frightened when she saw the great pile of shaggy wolves, but the Tin Woodman told her all about it. She thanked him for saving them and sat down for breakfast, after which they had started again upon their journey. He seized his axe, which had been made very sharp, and as the leader of the wolves came on, the Tin Woodman swung his arm and chopped the wolf's head from its body, so that it immediately died. As soon as he could raise his axe, another wolf came up, and he also fell under the sharp edge of the Tin Woodman's weapon. Now the same morning the Wicked Witch came to the door of the castle, looked out with her one eye that could see far off. She saw all her wolves lying dead, and the strangers still travelling through her country. This made her angrier than before, and she blew her silver whistle twice. Straightway a flock of wild crows came flying towards her, enough to darken the sky, and the Wicked Witch said to the King Crow, Fly at once to the strangers, peck out their eyes and tear them to pieces. The wild crows flew in one flock to The wild crows flew in one great flock towards Dorothy and her companions. When the little girl saw them coming, she was afraid. But the Scarecrow said, "This is my battle, so lie down beside me and you will not be harmed." So they all lay upon the ground except the Scarecrow, and he stood up and stretched out his arms. And then the crows saw him and they were frightened, as these birds always were by scarecrows, and did not dare to come any nearer. But the King Crow said, "Ah, it's only a man stuffed. I will peck his eyes out." The King Crow flew at the Scarecrow, who caught it by the head and twisted its neck until it died. Then another crow flew at him, and the Scarecrow twisted its neck also. There were 40 crows, and 40 times the Scarecrow twisted its neck, until at last they were all dead beside him. Then he called to his companions to rise, and again they went upon their journey. When the Wicked Witch looked out again and saw her crows lying in a heap, she got into a terrible rage and blew 3 times upon her silver whistle, until they came to where Dorothy and her friends were walking. Forthwith there was heard a great buzzing in the air, and a swarm of black bees came flying towards her. "Go to the strangers and sting them to death," commanded the witch, and the bees turned and flew rapidly. But the woodsman had seen them coming, and the Scarecrow decided what to do. "Take out my straw and scatter it all over the little girl and the dog and the lion," he said to the woodsman. "And the bees can't sting 'em." This the Tin Woodman did. As Dorothy lay close beside the lion and held Toto in her arms, the straw covered them entirely. The bees came and found no one but the woodsman to sting. So they flew at him and broke off all their stings against the tin without hurting the woodsman at all. And the bees cannot live when their stings are broken. That was the end of the black bees, and they lay scattered thick about the woodsman like little heaps of fine coal. Then Dorothy and the lion got up, and the girl helped the Tin Woodsman put the straw back into the Scarecrow again until he was good as ever. So they started upon their journey once more. The Wicked Witch was so angry when she saw her black bees in little heaps like fine coal that she stamped her foot and tore her hair and gnashed her teeth. And then she called a dozen of her slaves, who were the Winkies, and gave them sharp spears, telling them to go to the strangers and destroy them. The Winkies were not brave people, but they had to do as they were told, so they marched away until they came near to Dorothy. Then the lion gave a great roar and sprang towards them, and the poor Winkies were so frightened that they ran back as fast as they could. When they returned to the castle, the Wicked Witch beat them well with a strap and sent them back to work, after which she sat down to think what she could do next. She could not understand how all her plans to destroy these strangers had failed, but she was a powerful witch as well as a wicked one, and she soon made up her mind how to act.